This 10-year project involved contacting Goshen College elementary education graduates, asking them to submit anecdotal reports of ways in which they had helped children grow toward peace. Over 300 accounts were incorporated in 9 chapters of this book, Growing Toward Peace, released on May Day, 1993, culminating in a fest trip for Mary Royer, my colleague and longtime member of the education faculty. Remaining copies of this book are found on the table in the foyer, beside an enlargement of the artwork Justin Kaufman did when he was 9 years old. If you're interested, take a copy. Since retiring in 1996, I have presented workshops at early childhood conferences, giving examples of infusing peace teaching in the Goshen College Laboratory Kindergarten. Among the titles are Math Experiences That Count for Peace, Roots and Wings, How Birthday Celebrations Nurture Peacemakers. In 1995, the kindergartners had the unusual experience of having firsthand contact with the civil rights movement in the U.S. On January 16 of 95, Yolanda King, the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., was scheduled to speak at Goshen College. In preparation, we heard stories about Martin's boyhood. We constructed the Ambrose Baptist Church and sang in the choir like he did. We built Atlanta. We heard his speech, "I have a dream," about the day when all children, little black children and little white children, can hold hands together. We arranged for King's daughter to stop in our classroom before making her speech in our building. We sang, "There was a man who had a dream, hallelujah," and then presented Yolanda with a paper sunflower. The idea of this gift started when Grandpa Fribley gave us an 18-inch sunflower. During the weeks when each child removed 5 seeds daily, I wore this sunflower t-shirt. Every day until the children had removed all of the seeds, the final count being 2,745 seeds. In the center of Yolanda's sunflower was a picture of her father. On the surrounding petals, one for each kindergartner, were written things they had learned about Dr. King. Yolanda said, "This will be a treasured memento." For several years, I kept a peace diary. It was based on a response to the prayer, "Today, Lord, allow me to walk in your way of peace. May your grace extend through me to bring healing and hope to others." At day's end, I asked, what kind of experiences did I have today that relate to peace? This reflection asked me to look for peace around me. It was an encouragement to live at peace. For 5 years, I wrote a Pray for Peace column for the College Mennonite Church newsletter. I usually join the Wednesday noon prayer vigil at the courthouse corner, mourning those who have lost their lives in the ongoing wars. But the intersection of children and peace is my major concern. I think of my home as the dovecote. Edith King painted a welcome sign pointing the way from the driveway to the front door. Among my cloud of witnesses of whom I am a part are representatives of my family of faith. Please stand. From camping days, my words of cheer pen pal, the 6 couples, the fellowship group, and Sunday school personnel. Their presence today is a gift. A third cloud of witnesses of whom I am a part is my educational community. Miss Ziegler was a teacher at Fountain School, a one-room school about a quarter mile from home. I turned 5 in January, but she was interested in having me enroll in first grade that fall. There was no kindergarten. Is that why I spent more than 34 years teaching kindergarten? And is that why I sometimes welcomed junior kindergartners? The next year, those one-room schoolhouses consolidated, and we rode the bus to zone school. Miss Ziegler was my 3rd and 4th grade teacher. Through the years, she kept in contact with our family. When I did graduate work at Florida State University, Mother rode down to Florida with me so we could stop to visit Miss Ziegler. Did her ongoing interest in me set a precedent for my continuing interest in former students? At the 25th anniversary of the kindergarten, we invited a kindergarten alumna from each of the 5 years to be present. Here are Brooke Dorio, Philip Hertzler, Chingu Rajakapalan, Joe Smucker, and J.D. Hirschberger. 12 years after a group finished kindergarten, we held a reunion for that class. We viewed slides, movies, videos, looked at homemade books and records, and had refreshments based on foods we enjoyed that year. On the bulletin board were Goshen news clippings of class members snipped in the intervening years. Here, members from the class of 1996 are standing near the tree they planted on campus when they were in kindergarten. I like to surprise former students by returning Valentine's and Christmas cards they sent me. I'm indicted and delighted when walking down Main Street I hear, "Miss Aschilman, come see my baby." And I welcome updates about the whereabouts and activities of former students from their parents, whom I recognize more readily than their matured children. I had an amazing individualized education. I was the only regular student in my first grade class. Then one day in 8th grade, Mr. Ernst, our teacher and the principal at Zone School, announced that we could finish our math books on our own. He would help whenever anyone needed it. After Rosemary and I completed all the math exercises, Mr. Ernst arranged for us to make pastel chalk drawings. He entered them in the county fair. Mine was awarded second prize, while Rosemary got first. But the real math lesson was our integrated chicken project. We 8th graders were the caregivers of 2,000 chicks delivered on September 27 to the principal's 3-story barn adjoining the school property. I was the bookkeeper. There were so many entries on September 27 that date has stuck indelibly in my memory. When we'd get to school in the morning, we'd put on our chicken clothes and go out and take care of those chickens. Mother was a chicken raiser, broilers and layers, so I grew up with feathered friends. But imagine all the economics, science, cooperative responsibility skills we were learning. At Zone Elementary School, students published the Franklin Mirror, our school's yearbook. The principal took pictures of each child. We developed all the pictures and pasted them in the annual. We wrote the stories and we printed them using the hand-cranked mimeograph machine and then assembled all the pages. We advertised and sold the books. We were experiencing a publishing entrepreneurship that incorporated writing, math, public relations, business methodology, and productivity and a productive use of time. I graduated from Archbold High School and 2 years later returned with an AA degree to teach first grade in the newly constructed Archbold Elementary School. I wonder now how parents could trust a 19-year-old to teach their children to read. But they did. And one of those students, Phyllis Schrock Hostetler, is here today. I viewed teaching 3 years in my home community as a partial payback for what I had received. Then I returned to Goshen College and finished my BS in education. During the first semester of my senior year, my final elective was creative writing, taught by S.A. Yoder. As one of the assignments, I chose to enter the Write for Your Church Papers contest. I submitted Have Fun in the Beams of Light contest and Pruning in the Words of Cheer was as the Words of Cheer entry, and won in both categories. Then the Mennonite Publishing House contacted me about writing curriculum materials, which I had mentioned earlier. I began taking courses at Goshen Biblical Seminary that correlated with the writing I was doing, and eventually completed a 2-year Master's in Religious Education program. After deciding that writing would be an avocation rather than a vocation, I volunteered to teach at Bethel Day Nursery in inner city Chicago. I learned about urban living. I learned about being a minority among 10,000 people within 4 square blocks, living in 15-story buildings. I learned about discrimination and poverty. I learned about faith and hope that sustains and provides resilience. I loved the city and the work there, but I felt overwhelmed. I mean, there was so much to do, and I was not able to begin to accomplish what needed to be done. So when I was invited to come to join the education department at Goshen College, I thought here I would be helping to prepare many people to go to all the Bethels around the world. And that has been very satisfying. I had the best job on campus. I conclude because I not only learned to know the campus community, teaching 4 courses on alternate years and supervising college participants in the laboratory kindergarten, but community people whose children came to the kindergarten on campus. I wonder how much mother's gardening influenced the gardening I did with children. I remember how upset I was when a 3-year-old at Bethel Day Nursery pulled out a lima bean to look at the root. I learned to germinate beans so children could see the roots growing. I'll never forget how surprised Betty Brown was when she pulled out a radish from the nursery's outdoor garden. Betty looked at that red ball with a tail and exclaimed, "Golly, how did that get here?" When studying in New York City, I was amazed to see a vegetable garden between the sidewalk and a building right adjacent to a subway exit. Surely it would be possible to have a garden at the Goshen College Laboratory Kindergarten. Each spring, the children planted vegetable seeds. In the fall, the next class worked on committees to prepare our vegetable soup lunch. If you were on the potato committee, you dug the potatoes, you scrubbed the potatoes, you cut the potatoes, you put them in the soup pot, and then looked for them in your soup bowl as you ate. Heat changed those vegetables in various ways: color, texture, flavor. Those food experiences offered so much learning. Think of just personal relationships, the seed and tool providers, working as gardeners, harvesters, cooks, and hostesses practicing good etiquette. We used reading and writing skills to send thank you to kindergartners who planted the vegetables and invitations to guests. In this thank you note received from guest Harriet Burkholder, the GC president's wife, she wrote, "It was a pleasure to see you work together in washing and drying the lunch dishes." It was my goal to have an animal make an extended kindergarten visit during the spring month. Is it any wonder that chickens were part of that laboratory kindergarten curriculum? When a cooperative mother hen would patiently sit for 21 days, turning her eggs consistently, and then provide warmth and care for her young, teaching them to respond to her call, and being resourceful in finding their food, I felt we were observing family life